Well, big up, and welcome to Liverpool 12th Man Show. I'm Liverpool 12th Man, and so are you. That's why you're here with me. And we are going to discuss some things that are going on in I guess you could say, the Reds stratosphere. The internet is not kind to some conversations, and this conversation that we're going to be talking about is one that I somewhat spoke on my Copish call-in segment. And it's something that I think is important to get into because it's something that we see quite a bit on the forums that we congregate on, especially the bigger ones. And I'm talking about the bigger ones that have like the 40, 50, 60,000 K style subscribers and fan bases that watch them thoroughly and loyally. But we need to slow this conversation down just a bit. Shout out to everyone that's joining us out there, whether you're joining us on X or whether you're joining us on YouTube. Big up to you. Hello. It's a new name that I haven't seen before, but I am certainly humbled to see you joining us and saying hello. Shout out to you. I think. And you're red too, because I can see that I can see the avatar. So big up. Even you went Mbappe as a Liverpool red. That's cool. Let's see. Lee is in with us as well. Big up, Lee. How are you?
Good evening.
Good evening. Salutations.
Yes, greetings and salutations to anybody in chat already. And greetings and salutations to my one and only Rojo Amigo, Mr. Southman. Do you like that? Do you like me Spanish?
I do. I have it's so funny you said that because I have a pretty interesting, originally I was going to call this like arguments amongst amigos. That's what I was going to call this episode.
Yeah, I like the word. I think it's a nice word. It's got a zip and a ping to it, like amigo. So yeah, it's a good one. And Roja for red. Yeah. I had to Google that, mate. What red is in Spanish. I had to Google it.
Oh goodness. Big up to Trudon. Shout out to those that watched, those that supported by either going or donating, or just those that just at least supported them by showing your patronage and your loyalty to watch the Legends game today. It was a fun one, tell you the truth. It was really a fun one. And I'll tell you, you know what's wild about this? Before we get into this conversation that I have set up for us for this episode, the Legends matchup, which was a good one too, by the way. We had 2 goals from Liverpool in the first. Then we had then Dortmund stormed back to score 2 goals to equalize. It made me think, if we had just gotten a healthy Thiago, what different settings we would have been on during his time and era with our club. We won trophies. Don't get it twisted. I'm not trying to say that he wasn't I think he's a legend, tell you the truth, because he was a part of trophy winning teams. But what a player. Thiago put on a clinic, as Trudon says. It was an absolute, he was player of the match, but he looked like he looked like he could still, like, he's at, some of the players look like they're, running through quicksand, and then others look like that Thiago looked like he could actually lace up the boots and play today. He was absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, players with this type of gifts just breeze through anything like this, don't they? Just a quick run out, the way his mastery of, like, the ball, just controlling it, like, and knowing where to be. There's still a bit of breeze for him, but he'll have enjoyed it because he had to retire, didn't he? He could have went on somewhere else, but I was pleased to hear he retired because he said, if I didn't retire, I could have mobility problems later in life. You know what I mean? Because that's got a wheelchair later in life, and he didn't want to go down that road or a stick or something. You know what I mean? It made total sense to me. Because he'd had the better part of his career, we got a few flashes of him, like, and we knew how brilliant he was. But it's just another one of those ones ruined by injury, like many other players.
Yeah, it was Thiago Gerrard linking up. Great goal by Thiago too in the beginning. Who actually he had the first goal of the game. I was quick to put a couple of Thiago links on my X or my Twitter account, simply because I just think Thiago's he's just different levels. Like he's sauciness, you know. He's like Brazilian flair meets like that Spanish, you know, brilliance. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The thing with him, yeah, I mean, he's Brazilian, really, and I didn't know for a long time. I knew by the time he joined us that his dad was Brazino from the '94 Brazil World Cup squad, and of course, I didn't realise like Mazzino's black, like he's black Brazilian. Thiago's dad, and I didn't know. I thought Thiago was like, you know, like Rodri say, very dark skinned Southern Spanish fella. So, you know, down in southern Spain, it's hot, like it's so close to North Africa, mate. And people like you see like Rodri, very, very dark skinned. I thought Thiago was like that. But
There's more.
no.
There's more. It's interesting. I know some Spanish people will probably push back on my take of history, but you know there are quite a few interwovings of Africa and Spain, being that, you know, for some time like the Moors were, you know, in control or were so active in Spain and the like. So it's interesting history. Probably have to get Frank on here to talk more about these things. But uh, I thought it was cool. I thought it was cool to see Peter Crouch, you know, trying to get a couple of you know, a couple headers in. Jermaine Pennant. I always thought he was a good player, by the way.
He does okay for us, Jermaine. Some of our fans don't agree because it was on another show last night and a couple of them said so.
Oh, really?
But
Really?
no, I thought, well, yeah, they said, yeah, that he wasn't any good for us, but I thought he was reasonable. He had some
Reasonable.
moments. It didn't
He was,
happen. It
yeah,
didn't happen like his career at
exactly,
Liverpool, but he was
exactly.
reasonable. Like it
Mhm,
was a surprise signing, Jermaine Pennant at the time.
mhm,
I didn't think Rafa was going to go there, but he did because he'd been playing well for Birmingham. Been at Arsenal, and then he went to Birmingham, was it? So,
mhm.
anyway, whatever.
Yeah, there was it was good. Good to see. Good to see. He was
I've
okay.
never seen
I'm not saying he was. I'm not saying that Pennant was like some, you know, wonder kid or something. But I mean, he was okay. And I like the fact that he's on the he represents Liverpool, and he's a pundit now, and he tends to take a very pro Liverpool perspective when speaking on the players and the likes. He's like Daniel Sturridge to me, in the sense of, no, not in talent, but as in the way that he presents himself as a Liverpool Red, and you know, despite, you know, having other teams in his CV, he's still able to, like, you know, really call out that he is a Red. And then I'll go as far as to say this too, real quick, before we even, again, we're only like a couple minutes in. I'll go as far as to say that, you know, what's unique about the Thiago thing for me, and this is something I commented on my Twitter account about, and that is Thiago has played in England, he's played in Germany, he's played in Spain, but it's Liverpool that he calls his home, Liverpool that he calls his, like, you know, his team. And I know that he's, you know, he has connections with Barcelona and he has connections with Bayern Munich, but it seems to be a special connection with Liverpool. And I think that's unique. I think we should really cherish
There's a certain amount of South Americans, mainly Brazil and Argentina, do have a fancy for Liverpool. Going back to a long time ago when I think we were pretty much the first one. I don't know if the World Club Cup was going when United won it in '68, but we didn't bother taking part. In '77 when we won the first European Cup, didn't take part in the World Club Cup, and '78 we didn't either. We allowed Nottingham Forest to go, and they had won, and then the next season they did win the European Cup. But what was nice, I must say, about McAllister earlier in the season, remember that story where there was a guy in Argentina and Liverpool played Independiente of Argentina in the World Club Cup in 1981. I've got no, sorry, 1984. 1984. It was Flamenco in 81. 84. And this guy has always supported Liverpool. He's like an Independiente fan. Because he got introduced to Liverpool, he's always supported us. And McAllister found out about this Argentinian fella in Buenos Aires, and he flew him 7,000 miles.
Oh yeah, I saw that piece. Yeah, that was good. That was cool.
Do you know what game he picked? The Burnley home game, which was an awful performance, mate. He brought his little lad with him, and his lad met Mo, and that and was buzzing his head off. But it was nice because it's 70,000 miles, and this man clearly would never have been able to come here without. I mean, it's not a big financial outlay for a player, but it was a nice touch. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah, McAllister did a nice little PR piece as well, meeting a Liverpool fan. I don't know exactly off the top of my head the entire connection to the story, but he was an older gentleman that got to sit down and talk to McAllister and kind of chop it up about his days. I'm not sure if he was a player or not for us as well, but like his days, playing football and the likes. It was kind of very interesting. We got a always welcome part of the show, and that is Nalante in the house. Big up, Nalante. How are you?
Yeah, big up 12. It's been a hot minute. It's been a while. Yeah, big up yourself, Lee, as always. Scousely.
Big up,
Yeah, good
You're going to enjoy this episode. You're going to enjoy this episode because we're going to be talking about some things about Mané. We're going to be talking about things about VVD. We're going to talk about some things about content creators, a particular content creator actually that was kind of the eye of the storm just recently. But we were just finishing up talking about the Legends game, and we were just, I was languishing over the sheer fact that I wish we had gotten the better years of Thiago, if you could put it that way. I wish we had gotten a real opportunity to play Thiago in what could have been. And I mean, injuries for him. I'd even go as far as there was a time for Liverpool when, if you do remember the NFT midfield?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Should have played that in the Champions League final. Klopp messed up with that. That should have been our midfield final. Yeah, but yeah.
Yeah. That midfield would have cooked. Healthy Naby. You got Fabinho holding it down, and then you got Thiago just serving up. Serving up the vittles.
vittles in it. Yeah.
That Vinny goal, mate, it wasn't just Trent's fault. People singled Trent out, but the whole defence missed that one, mate. The entire defence, and Alisson missed that, and then Trent lastly was obviously it was very apparent. But I felt sorry for Trent because he shouldered the whole blame for the Vinny goal that won them, and he shouldn't have.
Yeah. Is there anything you want to say about the game today, or anything that stuck out for you from the lead into the game, or even after even after the game? How did you feel about I thought what was super cool is Jurgen Klopp, giving the crowd what they came to see.
Yeah, no, it's good. I mean, I mean, the game represented of how our season's going. First half domination, the second half we just look lackluster, and Dortmund could have won at the end. So it's a
I don't
fair
know.
enough.
You know what? Real quick, I was just gonna say I don't. I
Yeah,
think it's the opposite because I mean, we can't score in the first half.
yeah, I'll tell you that bad. Yeah, we're a bit worse. Yeah, you're right.
We can't score in the first half. We score in the second half of games in the first half.
Yeah, that's true. 12. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah.
I know what you mean. I know exactly what you mean. Yeah.
It's
But
good
go
to see
ahead. I'm
certain
sorry.
plays. No, that's all good. 12. Nah, no problem, no problem, my friend. But yeah, it's good to see him like Dirk Kuyt, obviously Stephen Wright, a few others, which I understand with age. Some of them put on a bit more timber than others.
Mm.
I mean, I think I might have to ask my boots to play the Legends game. I mean, I'll tell you what. But it's still obviously, Thiago and Gerard link up. Obviously, people probably watching that wishing if only that was a dream. No, in the reality, I mean, right now both of them could walk in our midfield right now. That's just saying the delusion of our
Oh
midfield right
wow.
now.
I have an
Yeah,
I have a fantastic idea. I need to hit up JW or something like that, or maybe hit up
yeah,
someone in they should do like a Willy Wonka golden ticket type thing, like like a raffle where like one lucky fan gets to play in the
yeah.
Legends game.
That's
That would be
quite good
so
actually. That'd be
cool.
a good. Yeah, I think they should do that. I think that'd be good as a
You know?
club. When
And you
you
could
had
just
the
like
women,
yeah.
you're going
You
12.
have the
No, go on.
women. Yeah, no, you're right. Go
Yeah.
ahead, finish. You have the women
No, you
involved.
had the woman played it there, obviously, and again, I mean, and which is nice, but I mean, again, I'm not going to disrespect the women's game, but look, there's levels. That's all I'm going to say.
Mhm.
There's levels. So all this talk and where you kind of saw it. So, but bigger
Yeah,
up anyway. Bigger up,
yeah,
bigger
yeah.
up, bigger up. But
How
it's good to see.
how much would you pay though for that? I mean, like you shouldn't make it like a silent auction because obviously then
Mm.
the some billionaire is going to get to play the game. But I mean, like realistically, you just get raffle tickets and somehow like one raffle ticket gets that person gets the opportunity to possibly play in the game. That'd be really really cool.
Yeah, I think
Really
that's a
cool.
good idea. Yeah, I think something again, but the club, listen, something the club should think about that because it's just you know what I mean. Because us fans, of course, the old saying you play for free just to do that and, to take it
Mhm.
to your grave, just to do
Maybe do
that,
like maybe even if maybe not even do like you do like a little match before like a 5-on-5, 5v
Mm,
5 match or something to make it
yeah,
easier on you. I don't know.
yeah.
Just thoughts.
Well, we know what 12, they ain't ready for you in the boardroom in
I
FSG. They ain't ready for
know.
your ideas,
I
man, because you annihilate them.
know.
They ready for the Arizona sweep as well with that.
Oh, no, they are not. People in Boston are different settings. They're Dunkin' Donuts
Yeah,
settings. That's all
yeah.
love too. The Dunkin' Donuts started in Boston, so like
No.
they're super into their Dunkin' Donuts up there.
I told you, didn't I? I've always loved the story of the Boston Tea Party. As a Brit, I
Mm,
found it hilarious that the Americans just said, yeah, what do these bloody British like? Tea? Let's chuck it in the harbour. All of it.
mm,
And they chucked it all in the harbour. Like, and I think that's hilarious. Like,
mm.
brilliant stuff. Like, we the Royals and that, it was their swag.
Yeah, yeah. I'll say this though. Getting back to what the thumbnail is all about, because right now, what I'm seeing across football discourse, especially with Liverpool circles, is sometimes it's not analysis. It's like all about cooking people, or it's all about like trying to humiliate people, or trying to just in essence give un unbalanced and unfair conversation to these forums that we congregate. And I've always seen it as like a lot of these forums, especially when I got the privilege of befriending Lante or Lee or JK or Brian, or it's always been an opportunity to enhance my my level of knowledge, which has always been a great thing, as in like no one knows everything, you know, and you get an opportunity to share ideas, you get to share experiences, you get an opportunity to share opinions. It's as simple as that. And sometimes, though, it's not analysis that we run into, and when we get to some of these content creations, it's conclusion first thinking, as you want to say it. And I think that's dangerous because when you start with the answer, rather than you'll always find a way to justify it. And that's exactly what happened in debates like what took place now twice on this Coppish collab thing that they do with Husam and Mr. Hands Above the Table, Tom. Let's say, this is a joke. It's a joke. Salah versus Mané is now the new topic that they're talking about. Salah versus VVD was the topic that they were talking about before. These are not being approached as questions to kind of, go back and forth with ideas and opinions and try to get to a real solid consortium on what you might think and what they might think and maybe what the audience thinks and what you think collectively. You're being approached as defenses of pre-existing beliefs. So today, what we're going to do is something very simple, but very rare in modern football conversations. We're going to separate output from impact. We're going to try to go separate visibility from value. Most importantly, we're going to try to separate analysis from bias, because if you can't do that, then you're not studying football. You're just reading, reacting to it, excuse me. And that's what I really got into a conversation about with Cal, because I was, and then Drifty came on the show later, but it was just in the first part that I got to get on the Coppish call-in show. I asked Cal this simple question about when you're conversing with people that aren't necessarily the most knowledgeable or most grounded in their knowledge for the sport, can it be difficult when you're trying to, assess certain things properly, and yet they're assessing things emotionally? Do you know what I mean by that, Lee?
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Okay. Nolante, are you there too with me on that? Or
Yeah. I know what you mean by that. Yeah. Can't take emotion out of it.
Because it's simple. The real premise of what, and I'm going to get into this VVD stuff and all the things that they were talking about, but the real thing about what I came on their show about was this conception about Gravenberg, for instance. This is just an example. And I was saying about how, I understand that some people's conception of Gravenberg is that he's not a DM. However, whether I think he's a DM, whether you think he's a DM, it doesn't matter, because Slot is the ultimate judge as to what he thinks Gravenberg is. And currently, Gravenberg is complementary to the things he wants from a DM. Complementary enough that we didn't go after Zubamendi. We didn't get Zubamendi to come in. We've been in search for a team. Go ahead.
For me, Gravenberch is a victim of his own success last season to an extent, where he had such a great season, and so did we. Did everything we could have asked for him, and then the drop off this season. What I can't believe is some of our fans don't believe in him anymore and want to shut and replace him. I'm like, what? No, we get a DM and we move him forwards in the midfield. He ain't going anywhere, mate. You know what I mean? I couldn't believe that. But some do, and I've lost faith in him, which is a little bit of ingratitude for me. But he hasn't had a good season, and it has been emotionally turbulent for all the players this season. We've had a poor season results-wise. We've played bad. We've lost against some awful teams and drew against some awful teams. And the fans aren't happy. and that the manager's under pressure. It's been stressful for them this season. Now, obviously, they get paid a lot of money and they have to absorb that stress, but there's no denying it. It has been an experience, a bad experience probably for a lot of the players this season, and they'd be glad to see the back of the season, like most of the fans.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and well, I agree with you on that he can be possibly a victim of his own success, because it's very difficult for someone to tell me that he's not a comparable DM when he was young player of the season and made the team of the season, team of the year. That is saying that not only do your counterparts think you are, but also the coaches, as in there's a lot of backup to say that you have done some real excellent work.
For me, he was easily our player of the season last season. Mo had a great season, but that job was a bit easier, finishing chances. What he had to do, Gravenberch, was a lot harder, and he wasn't initially what Arnie thought when he come in, because he wanted Zubimendi. What I'm not having now with our fans is, like, people are saying he's got no defensive awareness whatsoever, and that's not true. It's not his natural game, I don't think, to defend, but he can, he can defend, and he can, get the ball off players, and that. Saying he's got no defensive instincts at all is taking it too far for me. And I disagree with our fans who are saying that shit, because some people are really having a pop at him, like. But, he's one of our big players, so he's got to take it. But I'm expecting to see him back next season, hopefully with a proper number 6. Like, I'm not trying to say, he's not good enough. I'm just saying he needs help. Our midfield this season, forget about it, mate. It's been outfought, outclassed, outthought so many times. It's just like, it's a joke.
I think. No, I didn't mean to apologize. I apologize for cutting you off there.
No, you didn't actually finish then. Sorry, it's usually me doing that.
No, I was just gonna add to your thoughts and say that, I agree. I'm looking to. I think the problem isn't Gravenberch in DM. I think the problem is, and this is a player that I like, by the way. I exceptionally think he's an exceptional player. Some don't, I understand that. But I think the problem is McAllister in the pivot. I think McAllister doesn't provide the physical or the athleticism that you need for Gravenberch to excel in a pivot role with another player. If you're to put a Baleba there, if you put a Wharton there, or you put even who I like, I know Milwaukee doesn't like this player, but or doesn't rate this player. I shouldn't say not like, but doesn't rate this player. Camavinga. If you put a player like that in that role, or even Adonis Szoboszlai, if you want to put a player like that, you could have a very, very formidable pivot that's athletic enough to be able to go forward and be able to recover, have the skills to provide goal opportunities, whether shooting or passing, and be defensively astute enough to be able to hold them. I'm not saying they're going to be next level Fabinho. I'm not saying they're going to be next level Rodri. Okay. But what I am saying is that the conversation I was trying to have with at least Cal was this, is that with Gravenberch, one thing that he's good at, he was in top 5 in interceptions, for instance. Slot system doesn't ask for a press the way the Klopp press. It asks for you to cut off passing lanes. So when it comes to cutting off passing lanes, you need someone that's very astute at being athletic and be able to, intercept the ball, turn with it quickly, and be able to proceed and proceed up the pitch with the ball. That's what Gravenberch does.
Yeah, last season, when we started doing well and that, I looked at him quite, closely when he was playing to watch his defensive positioning and that. And it was sound at times last season, and he is built well for that type of work. It's just this season's been very different. I mean, McAllister, I've always been a big fan. But this
Yeah.
season, we can't improve on this next season. I don't want him anymore. And I'm coming to the point where I could, I could easily see him move on this summer and not be asked.
Wow, you want to move on from McAllister? Is that what you're
strong
saying?
behind Verts, so like Gravenberch and de facto number 6 who can really shield the back four, with Gravenberch helping him doing that and also getting forward. Do you know what I mean? That'd be perfect for me to back up Verts if we carry on with a 4-3-3 with a double pivot. So it's grabbing someone else and Verts is in front of them, because we need that strength now. It's Verts there. He doesn't do the running that Don does as much closing down, but we can still absorb that if we get a proper 6, I believe.
Sure. And I'm hoping, I know Nalante's on mute, so I hope get him involved in the conversation too. I was going to say that, why I brought up this analogy or this example is because when you're dealing with this conversation, people glaze over the fact that this is the type of player profile that Slot wants for his DM. And the player that has the closest attributes to what he wants for a DM is Grav. Now, we might have different opinions or preferences on who we would like to see as a DM. I'll even go as far as to say my pushback was, if you don't play Grav in the DM role or in this pivot DM role, where does he play? And if there is such a fervor for another DM, a destroyers type DM, which is what often most people associate a DM to be, what destroyer / DM out there is so high on your list that you would say he is a no-brainer? Because I don't think that the DM role in football currently is as deep as people make it. I'm not saying there aren't
evolved
players
a
out
little
there.
bit, like in recent times. You look at Rodri, what he is like, and how good he was. But I don't know. I've not had a name since we've been thinking about this DM thing. Lots of other people have. I said, yeah, I want him. I haven't really got a name. I just, hope that we find the right person and sort out the midfield, because it needs it. And that's the way to get the best out of it. If we can have a strong pivot of Grav and a de facto number 6 who really does shield the back well, then we can have a good season. It's just been so bad this season, the midfield, and McAllister's lack of fitness, lack of form has been the main cause.
Yes, I'm not disputing that, and I think that it unfortunately isn't. Again, and then this conversation moved on to Scapegoat FC, which is what I often see. I wouldn't say I was trying to defend Cody or defend Maka or defend Grav, but I was trying to say that it's a collective, as in, like, to say that Maka and Grav or Cody are the only player, or even Salah are the only players that have had poor seasons, is a disservice to the conversation.
Well, Mo's the one player that I've been saying it all season. I said it when he started off and didn't score many, and people were going off their heads. I was like, look at the way we're playing, look at the space he's got or hasn't got, compared to last season. It's not just that, he's lost a bit more pace. It's that, it's not like last season, do you know what I mean? And I was quick to say that, and, I will carry on saying it, that it hasn't helped him, the way we're playing this season. So it's not just like he's all of a sudden become useless. It hasn't helped him.
Which player are you talking about?
Mo.
Oh, no. Yeah, okay.
He was under a lot of flack and has been all season. I mean, Gakpo, I feel mean, doing it, because I did like Cozy under the Klopp system. He was good enough for me.
I don't think Salah has lost his pace as much as people make it out to be honest with you. That's just my opinion. I just don't think that he's lost his pace as much as people make it out to be. Initially, that's an easy, I think,
Teams have invariably
criticism.
been using that low block against us, like, and it hasn't helped them, like, when we've had that.
No, I
And
mean,
the fullbacks on them sort of quickly,
no,
like,
I
he's
think it was Lee. I think it was against Brighton, and I definitely Nalate, JK, jump in at any time. I think it was Nalate. Welcome to the show, JK. By the way,
Hi there, bro.
Yeah, big up, JK.
Big up,
JK.
Kelly.
I think it was against Brighton that I think he had a goal against Brighton, I want to say, and it was like a opportunity for Salah to run onto the ball. He ended up beating the fullback to the ball and outpaced him and then ended up scoring the goal. I think it was Brighton. I'll double check, but like you see bits of the pace. You can see that he has the pace still in him. It's just more so about I think it's the confidence, and it's just confidence. And why I think it's the confidence, or I lean towards the confidence more than I think of his skills or his talents or whatever have fallen off, or his athleticism has fallen off, is because of when he stepped up and he tried to, fool the goalkeeper in that penalty kick. I'm like, what are you doing?
Salah.
Like that to me doesn't seem like a player that normally would just step up, pick a corner, and just hammer it into that corner. That's usually the goals that we see from him. Is that he's just top corner, top bin, and it's a easy goal. And
Yeah.
I guess. All right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Do you want to say something about what Lee and I have been talking about, which is
About that. Yeah, I mean, look, let's be honest. Some fans are fickle. 1 minute the sky could be blue, and then it turns grey, and then they'll start saying, "Oh, this person stuff," and that's just some. Not this.
Mhm.
Not this chat. This chat's good enough, and we can have open and honest discussions whether we agree or disagree. But in other shows, which I'm sure you're going to get onto that. So look, with Grav, look, he's having a poor season, no doubt. I've said he should be dropped. Scott really should. He's been poor. He's been poor in managing the team. Tim's he should be dropped or take a rest back, take him out of the firing line. Jones, whoever. When Endo was fit, obviously he's not now. You change the team up, just get some freshness to the team. It's not working. It's not like one game or two games. You can say, might be. It's been happening a lot.
Yeah.
So Slot has a thought to do that. Use the squad to the best of your ability. But playing for 3 to 4 games is not just bench him. But he hasn't done that. Now, Grab hasn't been helped again by tactics by Slot, like he said. And I remember after the Everton game, which he scored, he had a good game that game. Funny enough, he said the manager has told me to push up and be more closer to the spaces, which is not ideal because what was he? He was played this season for what? Being what? DM. So now you're messing up the system. He's going up, he's leaving gaps, he's leaving spaces, plus with poor forms. There's a combination of things with Grab, but I've definitely again, it's some of our fickle fans that say, "Oh, he's rubbish." Da 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 da. No, he's good. Everyone is having a bad season. Remember the 22-23 season on the clock? We were horrible. Bar Salah, maybe I can't remember who. Bacic, maybe. There's 2-3 players. Everyone else was awful. You know what I mean? So look, next season he just have to hopefully the team gets us over the line in Champions League, and the next season it goes again. Now, if he had another bad season like he has this season, next season, it's a different conversation. But we have to you have to be honest, but you have to look mitigating circumstances. And himself as a player, he hasn't helped himself and the manager. So it is what it is. Just let him be. We just have to. The team has to. It's not like you said. It's not a Salamo thing. It's not a Grab thing. It's a manager and a team collective thing. So the only thing we as fans just hope these teams buckle up, gets their ideas right, and just get over the line at least for Champions League. And then whatever happens in the cups will happen. That's it.
I've said that all season, that although some players have been badly off form, and that it's a symptom of a wider thing with the team. You know what I mean? It hasn't been hard for Szoboszlai to be well out in front as player of the season. So many others have had poor season. I feel Cody's probably suffered more than anyone because last season was fine for him. He kept his place. Diaz went in the middle. he did his part, he did enough, scored some goals and that, and nobody was really moaning about him. Like, I can't remember. And then this season, like, I feel sorry for him, like, at times that he hasn't been left out. Once we finally did leave him out, we got an injury then to bloody somebody, and he had to come back in. But he finally did drop him for Rio, didn't he? Which is what we were all agitating for Rio to get a start. And then once that happened, we got an injury and he comes straight back in. But his confidence looks shot. And, it's, you don't like seeing your players suffering, don't like seeing Mo suffering. I'm so pleased for him to get a few goals recently, like, and assists. Because, especially being the name he is, like, Gakpo, like, he'd be stressed over it, but Mo not scoring, like, and that run of games, that was just, like, unheard of for him, and it's a new thing for Mo. He's never gone through this, like, before in his career. And it's because the state, the way we're playing, and the depreciation in his body is finally kicking in.
It's not like Mo's had like stinker after stinker after stinker the entire season. He has some bright moments. And what I was going to say is something that Nalante pointed out, and that is, for instance, with Graf as well as Salah, you can make the argument for Salah as well. Graf has been asked to do things that he wasn't asked to do last season. Last season, his performances, what he was asked to do, he performed at such a high level that he performed to, the praises and the accolades we spoke on. This season, different story. And my point is, when you're having a conversation about can Graf play the DM or not, is it a fair conversation to not bring up the fact that his coach or our coach is asking him to perform different tasks?
Mm.
And that is obviously affected, just like Nalante said, it's obviously affected him. I know JK's spoken on this as well. Let me let JK weigh in a little bit here. I know JK's spoken on this about, Arnie has asked him to play a little bit further forward and be a little bit more offensive minded, and that has certainly affected his ability to do everything that you want, not you personally, but you might want in general out of a DM. And that frustrates.
Last season, McAllister was the perfect foil for Ryan in the pivot, because it was like, he was fit all season, like, and most of the season he was as good as Gravenberch. Gravenberch was player of the season for me, but like McAllister went far behind him in terms of his consistency, his form. The two of them put in a right shift last season. Like, remember when we took care of City a few times? That was good to see our midfield, like, winning. I was made up for Arnie. But this season, like, it's like a different player, isn't it? Like, and I was hoping he'd like, get up to speed with his fitness quite quickly, but it hasn't happened, and I'm not quite sure what's going on with him. Like, I'm losing faith. I am losing faith.
Okay.
I feel to a certain extent Cody's been scapegoated a little bit. He has been abysmal this season. I don't mind saying that, but he's been scapegoated a bit because he's the most obvious one who's had a bad season. But he's not the only one, and there are reasons why he's having a bad season, as like with Mo. I don't think anyone could believe this season, you know what I mean? Like, if other players were, say, McAllister was in form, it wouldn't make that much difference to our season. A few more points, but, you know what I mean? We'd have been nowhere near the league or anything. Like, this was just one of those seasons where there was going to be a big drop-off, like there happens sometimes with champions. Didn't see it coming, but, it's not the first time.
JK, you wanted to say something about what we were just speaking on? Because I know that you've had some very well-developed thoughts on the subject.
Yeah, first of all, easy to everyone, and it was a great day to see the legends smash it up and have a good flow of football, So if Thiago isn't busy in the next month, he can come back. What a player, bro. What a player. And it was great to see Jurgen there as well. football's a game of energy, and when you can see that type of energy and that bench there, oh, what a day! It was a nice day, man, and I hope Lee Wizkid enjoyed it there because I heard he went there as well. So
Oh, that's cool. Big up, Lee Kid.
And
big hello to the Russian guy. My dad's family, like when they first arrived in England, he spoke Russian. The Finnish, like, but Russian was they lived close to the Russian border, so they spoke Finnish when they arrived. Russian when they arrived in England, apparently, because Russia was always invading in Tsarist times, Finland, and in communist times. It did it in the Second World War, but yeah. Russian speakers, apparently, all dressed in black, farmers. Just the way he was described to me.
Okay. Well, that. Well, who knew our Scouser was a little Russian Tsar as well? Awesome.
But
I remember
the language, the Cyrillic alphabet. You know, when you look at it, it's one of those good ones to look at, like, because it's quite elaborate and different, and I like it. The Cyrillic alphabet.
Yeah. Russian alphabet is a really cool alphabet, actually. I like calligraphy. Go ahead, though. JK, speak on this topic that we're talking about. With
but watch the film Tetris if you get the chance. It's a good little film.
Oh yeah, a connection to Russia. I get you, but
yeah. And I've always wanted to go there, and it was. It seems like it's the biggest land mass on Earth. Russia.
Oh, it's huge, mate. It's huge. St. Petersburg is where I'd like to visit because that was the nearest city to where my dad's family came from. It was much nearer than Helsinki. So I'd like to see St. Petersburg. I think Putin's from St. Petersburg. Yeah, very cold, like, but I'd love to see it, mate. That good architecture and that.
Yeah, but with the subject we're talking about now, all of us, when you just looked at Thiago playing football today, he was playing like a DM sort of role and stuff like that. And I'm thinking, even when Thiago played for us, he was that type of midfielder. He's like McAllister is the near enough sort of player we've got who's sort of similar to Thiago in that position wise. But it just shows me how football is, bro. Like, everyone likes an out DM, and for me, like a Roy Keane type of player. And when you look at Gravenberch, what is his role? What is his job? And what is he there to do? Because I think he improved his game when he signed his contract, and he just seemed a little bit more perky in that. And I like Gravenberch. I think he's a top little football player, but we want him to do the DM role. Well, I'm not really sure. If he had a bit more Casado in him, I think Gravenberch would be one of the best players in the world. Let's put it that way. He just needs a bit of that in him, you know. Interesting. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes with our midfield. Our midfield hasn't been great this season, you know, and you can just see it today with Thiago, the way he was playing, man. I love to see him play against PSG and all that.
Yeah, shame. Yeah, too early. But people, again, I know Liverpool fans. Some was it on Don Hassan's or was it Kopish? Actually, some people said, "Oh, he was a flop." And it's very hard to call Thiago a flop when he was injury prone. His first 2 seasons, when he played quite a few games, he was quality. He was quality, and obviously the other half is just being dominated by injury.
Yeah, because when you get a hip injury, it's going to take a year to sort out. You know, shame, man, shame.
Yeah.
Oh, but you know what? I would have loved to see Gerrard and a Thiago to finish off our season in the hot seat. You know what I mean? Imagine that combination of them two guys. You know,
ASAP, JK, ASAP now.
No. Get him in the hot seat, man. Even Jurgen Klopp, bro. Jurgen Klopp today. The guy is just radiant. He's just like a big ball of energy, and wow, man. And that's what Liverpool's all about. I wish Arnie Slot was sitting there wherever he was in the world, watching YouTube with the Bless Up to Liverpool showing that game on YouTube, and just sort of got his head set in that vibe, and of the Liverpool way. I always say this: you could be the best brain in the world, but if you ain't got that soul of Liverpool in your soul, you might as well just do one. Liverpool Football Club is special, and today you could just see in the way it was special. And I've seen a little. If you know Danny Dyer, you might know him. I've seen him do a little thing about football and football fans and this, that, and the other and stuff. And I'm thinking, he was like, I don't understand how you could say you support Liverpool if you're not from Liverpool and all this, that, and the other and that. And so you might have seen the video, Lee, whoever, and I was just saying, football is it's an energy thing, it's a soul thing. There's many reasons why we support Liverpool, and I support Liverpool for a reason. Nalante does, leaders, and football is a soul thing, and that's why today when I seen the game, when I seen Klopp there, and all this, it was just beautiful, bro. It was a top day.
If I didn't come from Liverpool and I lived somewhere that didn't have a Premier League team, do you know what I mean? I'm sure I'd choose a Premier League team. Which one that'd be? It could be any of the Premier League teams. But no, that's absolute nonsense. That how could you, if you're not from there? I mean, please, man. I mean, the guy is not the sharpest knife in the drawer. The only thing he was good in was that human traffic with. Have you ever seen that one? It's about clubbing and that, and he's quite funny in that. He's quite young, but his gangster thing and that, like, I could never take too seriously, like Danny Dyer and his Hard Men series.
He's ready to the Queen. Yeah.
Well, all right. Well, I'm going to say this because this is back to the subject at hand. I know that I saw Trudon said that apparently Husam's going to have a conversation on his channel about the quote unquote clowns. I don't know what that's about. I mean, if he's actually just projecting about himself or not, but I'll say that I want to establish a framework when it comes to football debates and how they actually work, because without a framework there is no analysis. I mean, there's only opinions. Most fans evaluate players using, I think, sometimes flawed shortcuts. We talk about recency bias, what happened last. We talk about highlight bias. Some people don't even watch the games. They only watch the highlight reels, what was the most visible. Or maybe they need to just bring up a narrative bias, because we know that's what the topic at hand with this whole Husam thing exactly is. And if you apply that to Sadio Mané and Mohamed Salah, what do you see? Salah's best moments are used as the benchmark, but Mané's worst moments are used as the comparison. That was the biggest flaw in what was going on with Husam and Cal and even Matt's conversation. You can't really go, oh, well, Salah's great because this, A, B, C, D. But Mane's bad because of this. Rather than say Salah's 4 or 5 greatest moments or 5 greatest skills or whatever you want to bring up as your defensive player, and then you bring up Mane's 5, and then you try to combat those points against each other, as opposed to giving a biased take.
as good as Mo was in his pomp, Sadio was always every bit as good as him. Remember when Klopp said the only one who doesn't believe he's world class is Sadio Mane? But he said that like after a couple of years. It wasn't like later. It was like,
Yeah.
you know, he said he needs to believe in himself more. And I suppose he's right a bit. He's just so fantastic to watch, Sadio. In a way, he was more exciting to watch than Mo. Mo could beat more men, probably a dribble around the box, but Sadio just direct, that pace. Once the afterburners were on, the defenders were nowhere, mate. They could not catch him. And his strength as well with his pace. Like
very underrated header of the ball.
Yeah.
He's unfortunately Lee is jumping ahead in what I had to bring up, because I was going to talk about that. Look, I'm on record as to saying that I personally think that Mane is a better player than Mane is a better player than Salah. That's my opinion. But I happen to think that Mane is a better player than Salah. And I understand that people will be like, oh, but he's got these accolades, he's got this, he's got that. I'm just talking about the actual player.
Yeah.
Sadio versus quote-unquote Mane.
The raw pace of Mane. Sorry, the starting thing of Mane, like he'd get up to his top speed dead quick, which was so exciting. And I think I preferred that to Mo's way of going about it on the right wing. I just love the directness of Mane. There didn't have to be too much dribbling. Like, you know, he could easily beat a man. But, you know, some of my favourite goals is where he just leaves people for dead. And he's in on goal.
No, I get that. I get that.
It's a mess.
But for me, Mane and Salah are the two ways of describing wing play. Like I view Salah like an airy type of winger, and I view Mane more of a concrete type of winger.
How about this? Let me ask you this question, and it's a simple question for the entire panel, for the chat as well. Can Mane do what Salah does, and can Salah do what Mane did? We all know that Mane took on the mantle of tracking back, not only playing forward, being an offensive threat, obviously being a golden boot winner one year as well, you know, where they all shared the title. But at the same time, he was a defensive juggernaut when it came to pressing, to tracking back, to helping out on that left side. Can Salah do what Mane did? Because I believe Mane can do what Salah did. That's the difference.
Remember him on the right against Arsenal early in his Liverpool career when we went away to Arsenal. He was on the right, on his right foot, and he's so fast. He just went round the player and then come back on himself to score with his left foot. That was just fantastic. But he was superb on the left. Like, he was just like dynamic there, and he did work hard as well. Different character to me, different type of wide player to Mo, but different character as well. Like, yeah.
I'm talking about prime Mane, Trudon. You're right. I mean, like, I'm talking about obviously you could pick periods in their careers that they had down moments. You could say, oh well, that Mane doesn't beat this Salah. Of course, that's the case, you know, for any player, you know. So I mean, like, you know, Salah's having a down year this year, but and you can compare this down year of Salah to maybe the down year that Mane had at Liverpool, and are they comparable? That's an opinion. That's a debate you can have, or we can have another time. But I'm asking you in the chat, and I'm asking especially I know you guys have some opinions. I know that it's not always easy to talk about this subject when it comes to two living legends, and we're going to acknowledge that both of them are legends, all the same. But do you think that Salah could do what Mane did, or vice versa?
No, because for me, when I look at the most Premier League goals, African, Salah. Most Premier League assists, African, Salah. And most Premier League goals by a winger, Salah. Most left-footed Premier League goals, Salah. The list goes on, bro. And it's Salah, not Mane. So for me, the argument ends there.
I think
again. Wait, hold on.
Like seen as the bigger star, like, you know, in that Klopp period by some, not by me. Like, but more like, the stand-up players, Mo Salah. I don't think Sadio minded that particularly, but I felt like, yeah, he didn't get as much support from the Muslim world as Mo did. Do you know what I mean? Even though he's a Muslim, like, he didn't get the support Mo did from the Middle East, like, and that fan base. They were much more for Mo first, like, them fans. But that's fair enough. You know, like, it's to do with where you come from and that, like. But yeah,
see what you're saying there, Lee? Like, spot on and that. Like, see that? That's what I don't like about the modern day football world. At that time, Bobby, Salah, Mané was smashing it for us, bro. I didn't have a favourite player out of them three. You know what I mean?
no.
Looking at it now, yeah, Bobby probably was Bobby, you know what I mean? But
Yeah, I was
at
going to
that
say
time,
I did. But
I
okay.
do not compare top dons like that. I don't compare them because you know why? That's just stupidity. And because ever since people have been doing that, like, it's just splits the fan base. Like, it's just something you just don't do. Like comparing Salah and Mane, you just don't need to do that. And I appreciate all three of them players.
I get what you're saying. But there
The
can be a
reason
tight.
modern day fan,
You can have an intellectual conversation. I mean,
when
I
they're
can
both
understand
retired, bro.
maybe. Yeah, they're both. I mean, they're virtually both
Yeah, in 10
retired.
years' time, let's go back to this conversation in 10 years' time.
What made me say that about the lack of support for Sadio from North Africa and like Arabia, the Middle East, was I saw a thing on telly and there was these, I don't know what was it, Jordanian or something, these fans, and all the big Liverpool fans, and Sky interviewed them, and all they did was talk about Mo and how brilliant he is and how proud they are of him. They never said anything about Sadio. And then right at the end of their interview, like the guy realised he hadn't mentioned Sadio, and he went, "Oh, would you support him too as well?" Like, we just tacked it on to the end, and I thought so.
I think that's the reason why I'm this. That's a portion of the reason why I am trying to give a little bit more light to Mane. Obviously, I did say that my opinion is I think that Mane was a better player, and that's because I think that despite the fact that yes, Salah's had more goals, more assists, and yada yada yada, all these different things that you're comparing him to, right? I get that, but then again, he does not do what if you gave Sadio the freedom to do what Salah did, you could see Mane score those types of goals. You could see Mane score or assist or give the assist that he could that could warrant him to have this type of numbers that Salah has. And to say that that's not the case, then that's not really being factual. Mane is a fantastic player that can play both offense and defense. I don't think that Salah is capable of playing the level of defense or the level of defense that Mane played. Therefore, he's able to play more forward role and be able to not have to do all of the work and all of the effort that he had to put that Mane had to put into a game. And this is why also my last point is this. I did have a favorite. I love Bobby as the three. But one of the reasons why I'm saying that now, saying that or bring that point up is because most of us would argue till the cows came home that Firmino, that Bobby was a great number 9, that he was a valuable piece in our front three. Now, some will say Bobby's not crap, or Bobby's this, or Bobby's that, simply because of his GA. His GA is not exceptional when it comes to number 9s. However, to not dismantle, but to not give the proper praise of Bobby for the work he did defensively, the work he did as a link man, the work that he did as all the other contributions that he brought, you are not bringing a really contextual conversation to a debate. And that's why I brought up the things I brought up on Kopish. It's why I'm saying the things I am right now. I honestly think that there's more context in what you have to bring than just saying, oh, because he's got more goals or because he's got more assists. And I've had people push back. I had people push back when, in that top 10 greatest Premier League players of all time, when I was saying about Steven Gerrard. People were saying, oh, the reason why Steven Gerrard's not in this list is because he's not in the list because he doesn't have a Premier League title. And I'm like, so now we're even lumping in team accomplishments into
I
an individual
remember.
assessment.
I
You've got
remember
to be
you know,
got to be honest with the contextual conversation that you're going to have when you're going to bring out a real honest debate. If you're going to bring out points, you got to bring out. If you're going to bring out Salah's great accomplishments, like his peak seasons, you're going to bring out his tactical role. You're going to bring out his influences in key matches. Bring out Mane's as well, because Mane has had equal, if not in essence, sometimes more, but maybe not the same highlight of it, because everyone loves Salah. Just as you just said, just as Lee just said, everything is about Salah. He's the golden boy. And Mane was not. And that's unfortunate, because I thought Mane was a beast of a player.
he was every bit as good as Mo, just in a different way. They're a bit different as like wide players. But
Absolutely.
I mean, as I say, he's just like a bums off seat guy, aren't he? Because 1 minute, like, be nothing doing, next minute he's in on goal or he's running at someone and that. He's a bum off seats player. Sadio, like some of his finishes, some of his headers were great, much better header than Mo. Thing with Firmino, I remember, like when we still had him, like I saw some rival fans like going on saying, "Oh, he doesn't score that many goals," and I said to them, like, "No, he doesn't. Like, that isn't his role in the team. His role is to create, mainly for Mané and Salah, and to work hard, like, and close down." And he was great at that, Bobby, and his tactical awareness was really good. So it was the perfect blend, that front three, wasn't it? We were lucky, like.
Did you want to say something, JK, or do you want to say something, Latte? Do you want to clap back at my little rant there?
No, nothing. Oh, good man. No, I agree. They're both great in their own way, but I agree. Yeah, obviously, Mane for me.
I think they're both great, and that's just not taking away from. And again, I'm not saying that Salah is trash or Salah's. That's not even that's not where this debate is supposed to be, even remotely in. I am not saying that Salah is not a legend, that he's not one of the best right wings we've ever seen in the Premier League. But I just think that sometimes, for instance, here in America, we play baseball, right? And they always say chicks like the long ball, meaning like chicks like home runs, right? That's one of the things they said. And it's supposed to be about the fact that in baseball, the home run is spectacular. It's like the big thing. It's like, it's what gets you on the highlight reel. It's what gets you on ESPN. But they don't show the person making, the hustle efforts. They don't show the players that are, doing the sacrifice bunts, or like, I know I'm using baseball as a term, but still, the point is, like, I just think there's a lot of intangibles out there that get overlooked, and I think those need to be a part of the conversation when you're having a thorough debate on who is a complete player, who's the better player.
Well, at the time, I very much wanted Mané to win the AFCON when Senegal plays Egypt in the final, because Mo had already won one, like, in recent times, where Mané hadn't. So I wanted it for Mané, like, big time, because I knew I would, like, maybe be made up, like, the proud moment for him. And Mo was having, like, a bit more success at international level, I think, and then, like, it was made up for Mané.
No, it's the other way around. Mane was having more in the national six. That's the more.
Oh, right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did Mo win one? That's Mo won one.
No.
Well, I've got no. He hasn't.
Close a few times.
No.
That's the whole thing.
No,
I mean, like, you talk about team accomplishments. Salah's Salah is an exceptional player internationally as well, but when we're talking about success, Mane's had more success internationally than Salah has.
You know, I was torn between the two. I suppose that just shows that I don't know
Being influential
international
player.
form as well as you guys do. But say, yeah, I just wanted Mané to do it. That's why I was torn between the two of them. I thought it'd be the best thing all round for Mané to get it, and he deserved it. And that, like, I think it was after he left us, wasn't it? He'd already left, but you know, that probably made it more likely that I'd pick him, like, because we haven't got him anymore.
The year they played, they played in the finals against each other.
Yeah, 21-22. They played the World Cup qualifier, but the far right to go to the World Cup and the AFCON final. Senegal won both on pens.
Yep.
Big Mané scored the winning penalty in both, I believe. He's a bit of a yeah. So
and also, you remember them goals where Salah ran the length of the whole pitch and scored goals? What Sadio Mane's gameplay at that time, he used to get in between the opposition defenders and put them off. So Salah had an easier goal to score. He did it a lot. And that's, for me, Mane's mentality. Very clever. He didn't think, let me get in a position so Salah can pass to me so I could score. No. His mission was, I'm going to take them two defenders by running through the middle of them and getting in their way. And he used to do it a lot of times. So I respected Mane's teamwork more than I respected Salah's, I would say.
You could see, couldn't you, the defences were scared of playing against Mané and Salah in them days because of the pace of the pair of them and the potency of the pair of them. It would scare the wits out of some defences, like, you know, they make mistakes or whatever, like, or invite pressure onto themselves because they were so afraid of the pace of those two guys and Firmino's ability to pick one of them out.
Pep Guardiola used to have, like, he was worried about them guys, man. Bless up Pops as well.
Again, so I'm not saying that that I'm not trying to belittle Salah. I don't know how many times I have to give him praises for the amount of incredible accomplishments that he has in his career. Like, the amount of records that he's broken is insane. The amount of
He's grown so many, it's like freakish. Because it was like every week there was something new. It might be a bigger one week than the other, but it was like every other week he was knocking off a record.
Right.
Yeah, but it's true what Pops is saying. Like, that's what I was saying, Pops. Like, 12's cool. He keeps it, like, respectful. But there's other guys who will rip Salah apart just because they prefer Mané. It's like stupid, man. I would never diss Mané to make Salah look better. I respect them both as individuals, and they both put a shift in for Liverpool. Simple as.
I think the whole gist of what we were talking about, the reason why I'm bringing in the whole, like, you know, interaction that they had on the Coppish show was because Husam was doing exactly this, saying all of Salah's accomplishments, but not acknowledging, not going like for like, basically. Rather, that's my point. He wasn't going like for like. And I am saying, if we can go like for like, as I'm saying that offensively going forward, Mohamed Salah was fantastic, was one of the best, if not the best, at going forward. But I just don't think that is the same. I could say that Mané had exceptional ability, elite ability as well going forward. I just think that Mané's ability to defend or to press or to track back was different. Their roles were different, and I don't think that if they had a role reversal, I don't believe that you would see. I don't think that you would see Salah being able to accomplish what Mané did. But I could see Mané being able to accomplish to some level what Salah did. Maybe not to the exact same level, but certainly I think that it would be he could put in a shift. That's what I'm trying to get across.
Yeah. Mané was, for me, a top player. But as I said before, bro, Salah's an airy footballer, and Salah and Mané is a concrete footballer. So they're different type of footballers altogether. Like Mané is quicker and more of a solid player, where Salah will beat 4 guys, or close to him, where Mané in a run will beat 4 guys. Mané wouldn't be able to take on 4 guys who are very close to him the way Salah could. That's so. There's a few things in each that, like, Mané's a better header of the ball. So there's good things and bad things.
It's one thing Mo cannot do very well, head the ball. I feel like Mo was just that slight bit selfish than Mané in his wide position, in that, like, he'd take on loads of players and he'd still be intent to get a shot off, where if Mané ran into trouble, he'd pop it off quicker to someone else. But, you know, that's not a bad thing. That was good about Mo, like, that he was, like, selfish, but it caused that bit of friction that time, didn't it, at Burnley, which was funny.
The point is, this is less about the Mané versus Salah for me, in a sense. We just got into that conversation simply because that was something that we started interjecting on. But the reason why we're having this conversation is I didn't bring up the Mané versus Salah conversation. I didn't bring this topic up per se. The reason why we're talking about it is because this has been a habit of some content creators to do exactly what Pops is talking about. And that is drag other players down and don't act like people don't do it. How many times, for instance, do we hear when you're talking about a striker, oh, Hugo is so great, and then the next thing out of their mouths is Darwin Nunez would have been this. So let's not get it twisted. When we're having conversations and we're going to be factual or be realistic about it, it's not easy to have a conversation without someone going into that uncomfortable place. There's no reason. It's why, for instance, I got into the whole thing with Lawrence McKenna. Lawrence McKenna would bring up Darwin Nunez's name on games he didn't even play in.
Yeah, and that's why I don't view these guys as Liverpool fans, bro, because for me, not every player is going to be great, but the less you moan about it, the better. You can say it once, but if you're constantly doing that, bringing that player's name involved and this, that, and the other, then it's an agenda. You support Liverpool, instead of criticizing 24/7s, it's not bad just to say, you know what? I hope give the lad a bit of confidence, like indirectly from where you are, because the world's an energy source, you know. And as soon as these guys go on social media and seeing, like today when the Liverpool game was on, in the chat on YouTube, all I seen was slot out, slot out, slot out, and I was like, fucking hell. And I said, this is not the moment to say these type of things. We've got Klopp and Kenny Dalglish on the sidelines today. Like, enjoy that, you know what I mean? It's like, what's going on in this football world, bro? It's like, we can compare footballers of how each of the great was by not taking it, like as Pop said, by not devaluing the other one. I just say simply, Salah was an airy footballer. Mané was a concrete footballer. Both had their good points. And Mané was, for me, more of a team football player, where Salah was more of an individual sort of football player. So that's how you compare these guys. You know?
Well, remember back at the time how solid we were down the left defensively with Robbo and Mané in front of him. It wasn't exactly the same on the right with Mo and Trent, not because Trent's an awful defender. He just wasn't as good a defender as Robbo, and Mo never gave him as much cover. And a lot of the time when we were targeted by opposition who couldn't find a weakness, they would go for Trent, try and hit long balls.
On the right,
and then Marino done it with Lukaku that time, bloody goal kick, and got headed down by Rashford, and Lukaku got it. But it was that type of thing, wasn't it? Like, we were weaker defensively on the right-hand side, we were on the left.
Yeah, but I see, when I look at that equation there, I've got Robertson and Mané on the left, and I've got Trent and Salah. So Trent and Salah, they're the entertainment side of the business, you know what I mean? They're them guys, where Robertson and Mané were the solid concrete base, what the team was sort of the foundations of the team. So two different types of players there, but Mané and Robertson sort of contemplated each other. Both sort of similar footballers, very solid, and where Trent is a bit airy, can swing a ball into the box, this, that, and the other. So that's how I compare that. But it sort of equaled out nicely because on the left you had that, and on the right you had that. So it worked out nice, man. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But all good in their own way.
I mean, I guess,
you
I
know.
know. I get you. I get you. I mean,
Yeah, because
you can have
that's how
we can
footballers
have
are, anyway.
conversations. Yeah, it's not like we can't have conversations. It's not like, you know, if there's nothing, like, what can you talk about other than glazing players up, you know, with the accolades? That's one thing. But I mean, we can have conversations. You can have debates. I just said I'm just trying to offer up the
Neutral view.
notion of taking it from a, you know, having an opinion and but yet like being able to, you know, provide both sides, be able to have an articulate conversation and be able to, you know, be willing to hear other people's points. I agree on a lot of things that people say about about Salah or even about Mane. You know, some of their flaws and some of their strengths. But I mean, if you're going to have a conversation, the reason why we're talking about what we're talking about is because we just had one individual, one content creator that has I don't know how many people he has, 50, 60,000 subscribers in his platform, go on to another channel that has like 40,000 some odd subscribers in their platform, okay? And sit there and have one person basically give a biased take by not giving both sides, not giving like for like comparisons, not giving opinions that are based in, okay, I'm going to show you these good points versus these good points, and I'm going to show you why I value these good points higher than these good points, as opposed to I'm going to show you all the negatives about this one player and show you all the positives about this other player, and then say that's why they're bad, that's why they're good, as if the other player doesn't have any positives to their game.
Yeah.
That's
But that's what politicians do, bro.
the conversation.
The Democrats and the whatever, they always going to pick up their own party and say, them lot over there are doing this. You know, it's the same philosophy. Humans are like that. They're fucked in the head and they don't know how to appreciate things.
I remember where it was when Senegal plays Egypt in the AFCON final. Grizz Khan done a stream live and he was supporting Egypt and Mo. But I was like, I'm going to support Sadio on this one, you know what I mean? Which, you know, he said was fine, like, sort of thing. Like, there was quite a few people watching it.
But you can end the argument here, bro. Like, all of us we're all chairmen of clubs or managers now. Okay, 12, you got a choice. You can have the Mané we had before we bought him from Southampton, or you can have the Salah. Which one are you going to buy tomorrow, bro? It's as simple as that. So you got to make the choice. Do I go with Mané because he's like this, this, and this, or do I go with Salah because he's like this, this, and this? I think Nalante said he will go with Mané. I think, yeah.
Yeah, I will go Sadio.
So you go Sadio Lee. Who are you going with? 12's thinking about it right now.
Who's my favourite?
No. Who would you buy tomorrow?
Oh, it'd have to be Mané because we could do with that pace now and the direct thing. I think I'd go for Mané with the pace and directness. Like, do you know what I mean?
Okay. And Mané is going to give you what he gave us, and Sadio and Salah is going to give us what he gave us. All them records broken. So you both. So
they can't. But you can't say that. Only saying you can't say that because they both complemented each other to be able to create those things. I'm open to say that without Salah, then Mané doesn't maybe produce some of the things that he produced.
True.
Vice versa.
That's what I'm saying. That's true as well. You know what I mean? But who you buying then, 12? You going to buy Mané?
I would buy Mané because Mané was Mané. Put it this way, the reason why is because I also saw the ability of Mané to not only play left wing, but he was also able to play a striker role for us at an exceptional level.
Oh, Paris. That was great when we changed to that. When Diaz come in, I was into that. Having Sadio in the middle, it was a bit different. But he was
It was
dangerous
exceptional.
one. Yeah,
Was
Bobby
his
lost,
legend.
didn't he?
Exceptional.
Yeah.
And that's the point. I mean, and those are just other reasons why the reasons why I think that Mane was a better player in my opinion. But I mean, doesn't mean that Salah wasn't a great player in my opinion too. I'm not saying
Yeah,
that both guys
completely.
aren't great players, but what I am saying is that if I had to choose between, if I had to say who I thought was the better player, I would put Mane as that candidate.
Oh,
Has
okay. I'm going.
nothing to take
Mhm.
away from Salah as a person, as a player, or any of that. I'm just saying that I
I'm not
think
going to
Mane is a better
say
player.
better player, but different player. I felt like shit, what was I going to say then? It's gone out my head. Sorry.
I'd buy Salah if I was going to buy one.
I know you
I'll
would.
go with
We all
Salah.
know you would. Yeah.
No, not because I think the
No,
brothers are so
if
out
you had
there.
said if JK, if
I'll
you
go
would
with
no, I was gonna say JK, if you had said that you would have bought Mane, I would have been shocked.
No,
Only
That's what
because
I was going to say. I was going to say
one
with
of them.
Mo, he knows how much the fans love him and adore him and all he's done for us, like, and the way he's done it, the style and that, some of the goals. So, like, you know, he's not going short on any love here, like, you know, if I pick Sadio ahead of him, because of the way
True,
the
that's got a
game
great
is at
point.
the moment, we
True.
need some, our team is, we need some pace, and Sadio's pace and more direct running would be
Also,
great if he'd have him again.
well, look how many
Trudon's got a great
years.
point. He said,
Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
exactly that.
Trudon just said, he said he'd sign Salah if we had to do it again because the longevity is ridiculous. And I agree.
He's
Like the
still doing it.
longevity that you got out of Salah was absolutely incredible.
Ridiculous.
Absolutely.
Look, it looks like Mane went years ago, bro. Like, I mean, years. And Salah still smashed it. Like last season, he was top guy. So yeah,
Well,
for me, that as well.
Let's
Mo
transition
got to a big
because
club quite early,
I
didn't he? With Chelsea, he got to a big club quite early. But Sadio's was a slightly more roundabout route, like Salzburg, like Salzburg, and then to Southampton, and then to Liverpool.
let's transition this real quick because I only have about 30 more minutes, if that, to go on with the show. And the other topic again, why the content creators who I put in the title is in the title was because this was the Mane Salah thing was just recent. But before this, one of the topics I wanted to bring up was a show that I'd formulated the show just on this argument alone. And that was, again, this particular content creator thought that VVD is having a worse season than Salah.
Don
This
Husam.
current
That's
season,
cool. Don Husam.
he's not a Don. So,
Yeah. Yeah, it's him. It's him, innit? We just call the name. That's fine. Don't be scared, Tom. Call the name. Don't be scared. Don't be scared.
I mean, it's in the title, it's in the thumbnail,
Yeah.
so you know.
Yeah.
But my point is, he was going off and saying that VVD is having or Salah is having a better season than VVD. And again, he used his flawed tactics of debating by saying all the negative things that VVD has done, and then contrasting it by saying all the positive things that Salah has done. For instance, I think it was the game where I think Salah scored a goal and VVD was like what game was it?
Wolves.
Against Wolves. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And his argument was something on the lines of, oh, because VVD was involved in that goal, he had a worse game than Salah, who was pretty much not even a factor until he scored that goal.
Thing with Sadio, even when he didn't feature a hell of a lot in a certain game as an attacking force, he always did like so much work. You know, he was always moving away, wasn't he? Like, you know, he's a workhorse, like, and Klopp
But,
like
but
that.
again, the
Italy's
reason why
international break, isn't it? With comments like that. Not yours, Lee. The one 12 was saying earlier about what that guy was saying. Like Virgil van Dijk, bro, he hasn't been great, but I'm not comparing him and him. You know what I mean? I'm not. That's not even coming into my focus.
But that's the thing about it is that, like, again, we're part of the scapegoat FC culture. That we have to find someone to put
the finger at,
the onus of blame on for a team's, misgivings.
Yeah.
I would never
when you
go
could point
down.
your finger at them two, like if you could point your finger at Salah and Virgil van Dijk after their great season last season, our best two players, like what's going on here? Like that's the last two people I'm going to point my fingers at. It's like, nah, man, they've earned so much credit in the bank. They can do what the hell they want, and I'm going to stick to that all season.
I'm sure Mo won't mind me saying this, but I never thought of him as vice captain. That's not his gig. Like a verbal jeer upper, he sort of like by his performances inspired others in the way that Virgil did before he was captain. Do you know what I mean?
And I get that, and I get exactly what Pops is saying, and this is exactly what I would say too. Is that it's what Cal was trying to articulate and trying to convey to, again, Husam's flawed conceptualism of the game, and that was simply because VVD had a poor moment doesn't mean that they're having a worse game than another individual who happens to be an attacker. We're talking about an attacker versus a defender. If no goals are scored, then the defender is looked at and praised. But if a goal is scored, then he's had a bad game. But there's games where players don't score goals, yet they still are considered to have good games. And if they have a goal, then they're considered to have exceptional games.
That's another thing that reflects on the team, that like Virgil has made quite a few mistakes this season. You know, like in previous seasons, you could count them on the fingers of one hand, through about like 3 seasons, the amount of mistakes he made that cost us a goal. This season, he's done a few. And that just ties into the bad team performance as well, and the lack of protection from midfield.
Yeah, no, it was a weird conversation, because I think that VVD has had not exactly a top VVD season. I'm not saying that he's had but that's just the team as a collective hasn't had a great season. But VVD's had some really
standards are so high. The moment they drop like a millimeter, people are like, "What's going on?" And he's not trying anymore. Well, a couple of people, do you know what I'm saying? A couple of people saying he was washed or some crap like months ago. It's like, behave, will you? You know what I mean? Anyone get any defender in the poor game in this team this season? Like, it ain't been hard to do.
Hygiene and Red Armchair.
Yeah, big up Armchair and Jean Grey. Go on to a few saying something.
I want to hear Nalate's, I want to hear Chike's takes on this, because I know I've been talking to Mike a little bit here, but VVD, one, just as Pop said, it's difficult to compare an attacker to a defender. VVD has not had an exceptional season to his standard, but VVD has had very, very good games this season. And the slander, just as Dragon has put into it, has been outrageous. I don't understand. He's been called he's been called not worthy of a captain. He's been called washed. He's been called he's lost a step. He's done this. He's all these different things have been called a player that's gotten game-winning goals for us, has gotten captain-style goals for us, has excelled when you look at the aerial duels and the ground duels that he gets involved in. The level of excellence is pretty exceptional still. It's just maybe not to the, what, 2019, VVD, and thus because it's not that level, he's not good any longer. Is that where we're at?
As I said, it's just because his standards are so high that when he drops off a little bit, like, people start, wetting themselves too quickly. And be a foolish man to write Virgil van Dijk off at this point. Like, I mean, I hope that he's okay at the World Cup and goes through okay and can come back all right and that. But yeah, he's played so much football, like, it's insane. We've been lucky, like we were with Mo, the fitness thing. There's just two guys that are always fit, unless some ugly dickhead in goal for Everton attacks you like at knee-high length with a scissor kick. But yeah, the constant fitness has been one of the key things with them two guys, hasn't it?
Yeah, Pops is saying the slander on all of our players has sometimes been deserved. I agree, but oftentimes goes over the top, especially on the world-class players who the ops are trying to destroy their legacies. And we're doing, a lot of us do do their work for them. That's how I see it. And that goes to what JK was speaking about earlier.
Yeah.
What are your feelings? What are your feelings, Latte? Tell me what you're thinking.
It's just a typical, and this is something that's do look. Husam is a Salah fanboy, point blank, simple. You can't articulate having a discussion where Salah has done something, and I get it. It seems like he feels people are piling up on them, and he just wants to react. Again, this counter-react. He's reacting with emotion. Sometimes you be emotional. Look, for instance, Joey G's my guy, but I'm not going to be here a hypocrite and say when he's rubbish, he's rubbish. Like, I think he had the game against Spurs, he weren't great. He weren't great. I could just lie and say he was great, but he went awful. But of course, and then I was speaking to someone on, I think this was on Brian's channel, Nee, saying, "Oh, he's rubbish. Oh no, he's rubbish. He's always been rubbish." I mean, that's emotion right there. That's just emotion, isn't it? Yeah, that's emotional. Yeah, look, because right now you didn't have a great game. Yeah, like, I'm not gonna go and don't Hassan. And look, let's be honest. When Salah leaves, a lot of some Liverpool fans, maybe in the Middle East, and some will leave the club, will stop supporting the club, and this is the new generation. This is not Liverpool. This is some certain players that they just have. Of just following plays instead of the club. Like, if this goes, oh my God, Messi, oh my God, Cristiano Ronaldo, oh my God, which is just stupid. Just stupid and silly. Now, regarding to Hassan, like I said, my feelings on him. And again, that debate with Cal was another thing. Look, it's not even about VVD's been better or Salah, because like Pop said in the chat, they've both been poor. They've both been poor. The whole team has been poor. So I couldn't care less about who thinks who's worse. They've both been poor at the standards. But at the end, you have to balance and navigating circumstances, because like Mo, and as bad as he is, his poor as he is, he should have been dropped in. And again, I don't like his comments. And this whole leaving thing, I don't like how him and the club have done this. But what I will say is, Jack Kevin, no matter what people say, no, he's gone. He lost a close friend in the dressing room. Obviously, there's a change on the right-hand side. And of course,
They all did.
They all did, yeah. But what I'm saying, I'm just talking about Mo specifically. And he had to adapt to, he had to adapt a bit. And again, Slot has changed things. So he's not helped. But again, his form's been poor. And the same with VVD. Yes, he's had some good games, but VVD, and I've said this for the last 2 years, he's shattered. He's been playing non-stop for 3 years, non-stop football. When times when we've had fits centre backs in Gomez, Ibu, and I forgot who else, because I can't even think right now off the top of my head. Like, sometimes we had a chance to rest VVD. Didn't need to play every game. That's the mistake Klopp has done sometimes. A Slot, he's shattered, and obviously he's getting on. Both are getting on. You know what I mean? So I think that has contributed, but into form. So They've been both poor, but you got to look at circumstances. And yeah, Trent is a massive blow to this team, Pops, but it's not the be all and end all. There's no excuse for the way this team's performing. Otherwise, we're saying, do we want Trent back and everything goes to pot? No. This team should be doing 10 times better, regardless. Trent, we all knew Trent was going. He's played with Bradley. The team has been poor, point blank. That's it.
You don't go back in football, do you?
Yeah.
No, honestly, it rarely happens, and when it does, invariably it does not work out, and it was the wrong thing to do to return to a former club. I can't really see Trent coming back here, and to be honest, I don't want him. Nothing to do with Trent, great player, but we've moved on. The team's moved on, so unless we ended up with wing backs under Xabi Alonso and he fancied bringing him back as a wing back, something bizarre like that. But I just can't see it. We've moved on.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just. Sorry, go on.
No, go on. No, finish off, bro.
No. I just, again, like like I said, it's just a pointless debate. It's just an idiotic debate. Everyone's been poor. End of. Let's just move on. Simple as.
I second that because we've all supported Liverpool a long time, and I would never ever question John Barnes, Steve McMahon, and Ian Rush, and all these guys. You know what I mean? And I'm thinking, if people like Mo Salah and Virgil van Dijk are getting heat, as I've said a million times before, us guys would never have had a chance in hell to be successful football players. These guys have been smashing it season in, season out, and they're getting beef. I just do not understand that. You know, for me, it's all about being thankful. We support Liverpool. Imagine we supported Arsenal, never won a Champions League, won 13 league titles. That's it. You know what I mean? Undefeated for one. That's their limelight. We won it all. We won 6 Champions Leagues. We're up there with the top dogs. And we're moaning. You know, current form is current form, but class is always permanent. And that's definitely facts, you know. For me, Virgil van Dijk, what he's given us, best centre-back in the world. Probably best centre-back ever. That's the sentences around this guy. And people are moaning about him because he had a rocky sort of season. Come on, man. And I agree with Nanante. This guy don't stop playing. He's had so many football. I was disappointed Holland played him again the other day in a friendly.
Yeah.
We always do, mate. I remember he played Gibraltar and he played the first half.
Yeah. He didn't need to play.
He in that game and he played the first half. I was like, against Gibraltar, mate? Why?
But then again, when I look at Virgil van Dijk, he's got a Gravenberch last season who was sitting, and this season he's had a wandering Gravenberch in front of him. Hence why we're looking a bit more rocky in that sort of defensive area, you know what I mean? But all in all, bro, the bigger picture is this. Just be thankful with the players you have right now, because one day they will go and retire, and you're going to think, oh, I'd love to have that Salah again, or Virgil. As soon as Virgil leaves this playing side of ours, it's going to look like a whole different ball game. You know, appreciate what you have and respect it as well. As soon as I hear a Liverpool fan moan about Salah and Virgil on a constant, I just switch off. I'm thinking, where's the thankfulness in this fan right in front of me? Be thankful, show a bit of respect. You know, the amount of pressure these guys are under is unbelievable. Unbelievable. Hence why you will see odd behaviours in players sometimes, because the pressure is massive, you know? It isn't just like he's got that to deal with, plus family life, plus his relationship with his partner, whatever. Then he's got to pay bills, he's got to do that, then he's got to do that. And on top of that, he's got to play good for Liverpool. It's a mad world, bro. You know, and he's got to smile for the cameras. Now, all of a sudden, Salah's leaving now, and this argument of Salah, who's greater, and this, that, and the other, is a conversation that I would never dream of having. And it's great that you're highlighting it and stuff, that as Liverpool fans, we should unite and back every player. Virgil hasn't been great this season, nor has Salah, but for the last 8 years they have been. You know what I mean? Come on.
Mhm.
Imagine
Yeah, with
Salah scored 2 goals
the
a season, and then last season smashed it. So he had one great season. Look at the season he came, he scored 40 odd goals, bro. Salah, as soon as I hear anyone bad mouthing Salah, I'm switching off, bro. This guy has been, he's in the best Liverpool team of all time.
the debate
You know?
there, like who's better, Mo or Sadio, that one doesn't really work for me because they're just not similar enough. They both play on the same position but on opposite wings, but they weren't similar enough to try and compare them and say, yeah, he's better. They was just different as players. You know what I mean? I'm not really a fan of that whole thing. People go, oh, somebody from, they mentioned someone from 20 odd years ago, was he as good as him? And like,
You have a question for you, JK. What system are you playing? Says Pops.
What system am I playing? Well, personally, I would go with the 4 in midfield because of the way Arnie plays football. When you play the 4-3-3 with Arnie, because of the pace he's playing football, the gaps seem bigger. When you play the 4-3-3 with Klopp, because of the speed he's playing the team and playing football, the gaps are closed quicker. So the gaps don't look that big. So for me, with Arnie's slot, you've got to play the 4 in midfield.
yeah.
And the 2 up top.
For
It just
me,
feels a bit more comfortable for me.
that's the most likely lineup for City is the 4-man midfield, with Cozy dropping out. If we can have Salah and Ekitike and Verts, withdrawn a bit more like he was when we played like that. And obviously Szoboszlai as well in the midfield. I think it's the more likely lineup against City, because we're not in the best of form. And a very good team, they are on a bit of a thing from winning the League Cup. But it's going to be a tough game now.
He's asking for your 11, not Slot's 11. Your 11.
Oh, my 11. What, for the next game or all time?
Just for, I think, if you're going forward, what 11? What
All time. All
Is it
time,
all
he's saying. Yeah, all time, he's saying.
All time, my bad. Yeah, I see it. I see it now.
Oh, in the all time. Yeah, he gets on, for me, on the right, Salah gets in. But for the next game, I think he's on about the next game. One moment.
No, he's about all time. You said Mo gets in the all time team.
Yeah, he does. For sure. Look at the numbers, bro. Come on. No questions asked. Same as Ian Rush gets in my all time team. Why? Numbers. You know? Well, for me, it will be when you play a 4-4-2 with Salah in it, what you do, you'll play him as a free roll centre forward. When you watch that, what was that game against Galatasaray?
Yeah, I think
Salah
that's
was on
when
the
we
left
did
wing,
it,
bro.
wasn't it?
He had the ball on the left side of the box on his left foot, bro. It was great to see. He had the ball on the left-hand side of the pit box, and it was weird, bro. I was like, all these years I've watched Salah play, I've never really seen him there. And all of a sudden he's there. And it's probably better for him.
No, I get you. No, I think that's Pops. I understand exactly what you're saying. That's like saying maybe that's like me saying, do you put King Kenny as your left wing, or do you put Barnes there? Maybe.
Well, you could play
Barnsley is a better comparison to Mo, a left-footed player that likes to dribble. Mo at his peak, John at his peak as a winger. It's just that the game's changed and the left-footed guy is on the right these days. But he's more similar to him than Sadio Mané ever was. Sadio would probably be comparable to other wide Liverpool players who are pacey. And,
yeah, I'm going Barnes, Rush, and Salah up top for me. And then Kenny can play behind Rush. That's how I'd play with Kenny in the team.
No forcing players into positions. I got you.
Big difference between Barnes and Salah is Barnes has a great right foot finishing. He could curl them, just really, really good, like with his right foot as well, like from on the left wing when he cut in across the front of the box and just curl one. But yeah, and the keeper couldn't do nothing.
Yeah, very true. Very true. Look, I guess the whole gist of this conversation was just, I was just trying to bring up analysis versus advocacy. I mean, it's nothing personal per se, but it's methodical when you see a person basically break down a conversation or a debate and not give like for like as in, and will tell you not only his opinion or his opinion on a subject, but tell you that your opinion is wrong simply because he doesn't want to accept your facts. And a lot of those facts that were being brought out in the conversation were just that, VVD is not having a great season, but I would go as far as to say that VVD has had some exceptional games this season. And rating an attacker versus a defender is different settings. It's not an easy, that's if you can create, if you're going to have a conversation like this, create the bridge that you can actually have the conversation on in saying, okay, well, we're talking about an attacker, we're talking about a defender. So we're not going to talk about, VVD was 8 for 9 for aerial duels. He was, 7 for 9 in ground duels. He had 6 recoveries. He had two interceptions, but yet it was the result of a goal getting scored on us. And then you go to Salah's statistics, for instance, and he's had, there was a game this year that Salah was 0 for I don't know what the number was, but it was something ridiculous for dribble attempts. You take those contributes that are important important statistic categories for an attacker, and he performed poorly on, and you're going to tell me, let's do those kinds of comparisons then. Say, what are the top 3? Let's all come to a consensus on what are the top 4, statistics that are the most important for an attacker, and what are the top 4 statistics that are important for a defender, and then I can tell you who had the better game.
As far as next season goes, if we're carrying on with 4-3-3, we must have more pace injected back into the side. With 2-1 pace as a side, it's very noticeable. Jeremy's the only one who's got real noticeable pace, and people know it. None of the others have. Hugo can put a spurt on, but he's not a pace merchant. He can move once he gets going, but he's not a pace merchant. But we must have, if we carry on with the 4-3-3 in this style, left footed on the right foot, we must have pace for next season, because we're 2-1 paced and predictable at times. You know what I mean? It's
because that's the way the manager wants them to play, Lee. First, second gear football. That's why the gaps look big on the pitch. Because we're playing too fucking slow, and it's like, come on, when your team is fast, it closes down space quicker. You know what I mean? So you don't look so lethargic, and teams don't think they can get a sniff in.
It's never that midfielders who are the fastest guys in the side. It's always full-backs or wingers, generally, or defensive forwards. But you look at McAllister, for instance, like I said, last season, I said it in Klopp's last season, that he was too slow to play the 6, on the turn when someone goes past him, and he's just got no pace whatsoever. And now this season, with the diminished physical condition, he's even slower, mate. It looks like he's running in treacle, and that ain't good.
And it's true what Pops is saying there about when I look at Kirkes and Frimpong, the reason why Kirkes had a rocky start to his career and Frimpong kept on getting hamstrings because Arnie kept on telling them to hold their horses, don't cross the halfway line, and their game went to pot. And then all of a sudden, Kirkes thought, "Fuck that! I'm going to go back to Bournemouth settings. And I'm going to put my foot down." And since then, he's settled. Frimpong, as soon as he plays his own game, runs down that line, he's getting assists. He's even shooting at goals and that. You can't listen to a manager like Slot. He's going to hinder your development in your. That's why Klopp and Robertson. I'll give Robertson. He was great under Klopp. Why? Free pass. He could do what the hell he wanted, and he played football. As soon as Slot came in, Slot told him, "Hold your horses." Andy Robertson couldn't find his feet. He had the worst season of his career last season because Andy Slot told him, "Don't go cross over the halfway line." And Robertson isn't that type of guy. And it's simple tactic. That's why, for me, this manager, like, I've not got on the guy's back. Well, it's got to a point now where I don't feel he is suitable for our players, man. Simple as that.
The slower style of Arnie's to what we had on the Klopp. Klopp was perfect for Anfield, because if you get after teams early, the way we used to, the crowd get up instantly, and but under Slot, too often, it's just snooze time, and the crowd,
people bring their blankets
to get the crowd roused now, because the game's just so dull at times, and we must have pace again. I feel it's not completely essential, because you look at City and they don't play. See, this is the thing with Arnie. He said my style's not that different to Jurgen Klopp. Well, it fucking is, and it's more like Guardiola's, the way he likes a slower possession-based thing, because that was the difference between Klopp and Guardiola, won it, and it was a great matchup. But Arnie's more a disciple of Guardiola. I remember he said when he come in how much he liked him and that. And it didn't bother me at the time. I didn't think much of it. But now, after this season, I can see where he's going with it. And, yeah, it means a more one-paced side, unfortunately. So we have to explore ways to put teams under pressure.
I'm going to start calling him TLC. Red Armchair. T-Boz. Okay. Call Arnie Slot T-Boz. Telling Robertson, don't go chasing waterfalls. And that's why Frimpong has had hamstring issues, because he's been told in his brain, play this gear, don't do this, don't do that. Where Leverkusen, free ticket, do what you want, get up and down, blah, blah, blah. I think football is a game, bro, where when you're good, you don't really need that much training in that way of tactics. When something's working, all you got to do is keep that player on his toes and fresh in his mind. Hence why you don't need to give him so much information of what to do in a game. That's why I respect managers like Klopp. He let players breathe. And them sort of players like Kwanzaa, Conor Bradley, Harvey Elliott, young guys, develop their game under a Klopp. Why? Not too much information. It was simple. Go out there, give your best, enjoy your game, do this. That's what I'm saying about. I don't see players developing under Slot.
This is the era of systems. This is the era of systems. Pops has got it spot on. I know we like to talk about, yesteryear. I like to talk about romanticism of the game and different takes and likes. But I mean, the reality of it is that system football is what it has come. The Guardiola era of football, where systems are more important than individuals, is what we've come to. And unfortunately, that's just the reality that we live in. I am going to have to bring the show to an end because we're at the 2-hour mark. And I wanted to make sure that I let you guys get your last thoughts in before we end. Look, this channel is not here to tell you what to think. I'm not saying that at all. You're more than welcome to believe or feel the way that you want to feel about whatever part of the game or conversation that you're having is is appropriate. However, once you understand structure, role, content, influence, I think you stop arguing like a fan and start analyzing like a student of the game. I've realized something very quickly, and that Salah is great. Mané was great. VVD is great. And I think the real mistake that we got into was ever thinking you had to tear one down to prove the other. I agree with that completely.
Mhm.
I respect the players, but more importantly, I respect the game enough to understand it. We can have conversations, but when we're going to have these conversations, let's have them like adults. Let's bring up points. Let's try to go, where we come out of a conversation feeling like we learned something, feeling like we've enriched each other with something that makes us more powerful in our next step. And that's all I've ever really wanted to do with this channel. That's all I've ever wanted to do with the conversations I have with my brethren here and you in the chat. So with that said, I am going to say, be mindful of the Don Husams out there, okay? And allow for enriched and certainly viable conversation to exist. And I'm hoping that it continues to flourish in forms such as our own.
The
Oh,
main
man.
thing
That
from
said,
this season for me, and I've felt it since pretty much the beginning, is that Arnie bit off more than he could chew in terms of how fast he tried to evolve us from what we were into what he's trying to make us. He bit off more than he could chew, unfortunately. And, it was a good enough effort, but don't go chasing waterfalls, Arnie. I did like that one. It was a good video. Not normally my type of thing, but I like that No Scrubs that was out before it. That one was funny. Because I've seen them on telly in England talking about what it is like, the type of guy. The women avoid. It was a funny interview. They were quite feisty then, weren't they? Larger than life, other than some other girl bands.
That was the start of feminism, bruv. That was that and the Spice Girls together combination.
all right.
Yeah.
Well, before we do the
It was,
Spice
bruv.
Girl revolution here, I'm going to give it over to Sporty Milante. Is that it, right? You don't be spooky, right? Spooky, sporty, or the baby.
Yeah.
Ginger.
Ginger,
Oh,
scary, ginger.
well, she was a non-event,
baby,
wasn't she? She
boy,
couldn't sing and she
Liverpool
couldn't
fan.
dance. She's just
I'm
stood
pushy.
there.
Oh, it's pushy. Oh, Ficky. Yeah, the
Scary,
Beckham's missus. Yeah.
scary.
Scary.
That's
Oh, yeah. Scary's nice, man. Yo.
about that.
Ah,
Anyhow,
yeah, cool, man.
Dairy
Okay,
Spice.
hey, okay, let's give our thoughts on what you have.
Vegetarian Spice. Dairy Spice.
What's
I
your
have to say, Posh Spice was the least appealing one by quite some distance, to look at for me. I don't like birds that look like
who's that, Lucy?
Posh Spice. The others, I'm saying, I picked the others for the girlfriend before Posh.
okay, this is going south quick. All right, people.
Bless up, Pops.
Go ahead, JK. Yeah.
That's up, Bob.
SWV is my favorite that type of crew, like girl bands from America and stuff. SWV, man.
Oh, that fix
There
it.
you go.
The TLC.
Yeah, SWV,
Oh,
bro. They beat TLC for me, man. Anyway, nice 112 for the show. Bless up Lee and Nalante, and bless up the chat as always. And if you're a true Liverpool fan, you will never compare great footballers.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Lee. What do you got to say, Lee?
The pot spice seemed incredibly up herself, like she didn't see where all that stuff was.
Nice.
Can I get away with saying that? Can I get away with saying that?
Yeah, Sisters with Voices, man. Right here, my favorite song of all time.
Total.
And Vogue were good as well. Total were good
Envo
as well.
good, nah. I like Envo, but not Total for me.
Yeah, with Biggie, that tune. Ooh.
Yeah, I liked the Salt and Pepper ones when I was in school. Salt and Pepper come out with Kristen Shouting and a few others, and they were good ones. Like, they were quite funny in interviews, like them two, like sort of. And
Salt and Vinegar were good as well.
oh, nice and Salt and Vinegar.
Wow. Wow.
Album out soon.
Wow. All right. All right. What do you have to say? What do you have to say for your last thought?
Once I'm speechless.
I know.
Yeah.
Big up everyone. Sort of Vinegar Pro Cocktails. Big up everyone in the chat. Yeah, like 12 said, you watch out for the littles and make sure if you watch any Liverpool streams, make sure that you can see where the hands are wandering. Pause.
Certainly on that. Certainly.
Indeed,
on that.
yeah. Obviously, I heard they tried to that. Apparently, he was looking at a PSV, apparently a PlayStation game. Apparently, 12.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty embarrassing if I'm honest. Pretty embarrassing. Pretty embarrassing. I can't even lie. But of course, people will defend, and the guys at competition they all defend. But yeah, and you should be thinking about Terry Boy didn't switch off the camera, did he? Did it end the stream?
No, I didn't.
Anyway, we move.
Like I said, keep your friends close and your enemies closer. Apparently.
Agreed. We got rid of exactly armchair. You know it. We know what happened. We all know, but some people live in denial. Of course.
So, all right, people. We are going to be back tomorrow. It'll be a little bit of a later show at like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, something around those times, that time. But we will be back. I'll have another interesting topic. Probably, I might delve into some of this World Cup talk, since international plays going on. Maybe dive into a little conversation about the tournament and also about those that are coming to America, meaning North America in general, whether Canada, US, or Canada. What you can expect. Yeah.
I'd love to visit, mate. I'd go
Canada or USA. Yeah.
What do you say, Lee?
I'd love to visit North America to go Sasquatch hunting. One of my favourite Hulk comics when I was a kid was this one where he had a fight with Sasquatch, like in the Canadian, like Alberta region, something in the forest. It was dead exciting.
Right.
Always had a fight for going Sasquatch spotting. Oh, them programs though, people devote their lives to it. It's like, why would you? I'm interested in it for like 10 minutes every once in a while, but devoting your life to it is another thing entirely.
People, if you have not been entertained, please still hit that like button. But I believe you had to have been entertained with the talks of Bigfoot, Sasquatch, and all. Okay.
Salt and vinegar.
Yeah, and salt and vinegar, the whole nine. But until tomorrow, up the Reds each and every time. Definitely big up to everyone that was in the chat. Shout out to each and every one of you. You're all legends in your own right. And we will be back tomorrow again at around 8 or 9 o'clock UK time. So blessings and take care.
Peace, Red Armchair Pops, everyone.
Night, guys.